Hello. Happy Wednesday or happy hump day. Back again. These weeks are just flying by, aren't they? It's a little bit crazy for me. So this week I'm talking to Helen, my good friend Helen. So I've worked with Helen before, so I can vouch for her fantastic skills in RTT, which is rapid transformational therapy. So I'm sure we'll be talking about that in a little while. But yeah, so Helen is fantastic. Met Helen whilst doing the HPC coaching program back in October. She's just got tons of wisdom, insights, but also kind of practicality. She's kind of a bit of a badass as well. So much good stuff to say about Helen. She lives in Dubai, so she's got an awesome skyline behind her today as well, which is making me very jealous because I've just got this cream wall. I'm hoping to move upstairs into a home office, and I'm going to have a graffiti wall when I do that. So that'll be my reward for myself when that eventually happens. But those of you who know me know that I'm not quick to do these things. So, who knows when it will happen. But anyway, so I think we're on week 4. I'm talking to Helen today, as I have been with other guests each week. It's all about women empowering other women. So I just want to introduce you to some great women that I know. So they have great skills, great stories to share, and it's all about inspiring you to, push through and achieve your goals and your dreams. So that's why I want to share all of these different great stories with you rather than just my own. So I'm going to stop waffling and I'm going to introduce Helen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I've been eating some little snacks today because normally I do this and I'm absolutely starving and then I get really cold and start actually physically shaking. So let's eat some food this time and see how that works. So it's working pretty good so far.
Good. That's great awareness on your front.
Absolutely. So I've done my little intro about you and sung your praises, as I always do on this, because it's always got my favourite people on it. But tell us about you. Tell us what you do, who you are, what do you do?
Thanks, Nick. So I'm Helen and I practice something called rapid transformational therapy. It is like hypnotherapy on steroids. So before I decided to do this, I was avidly into self-development. I'd done all the typical things. I'd done some energy work. I'd kind of studied all these modalities. And I was like, you know what? There's not really this one thing that's really, like, they all kind of helped and they all built up a certain sort of momentum, but I still found that I was coming across the same fundamental beliefs and challenges that were really deep. And then I came across something called rapid transformational therapy. And it was very deep. And what it essentially allows you to do is it allows your nervous system to reset any false memories and false instances where you weren't safe. So we're all kind of designed to keep ourselves alive. And imagine being a helpless child and a helpless baby, or even, up until the age of 7 or 8. You'll find that there are certain scenarios or events that may have triggered you to be hyper aware. And that's what RTT allows you to kind of restate. So for me, it's great because I love knowing how things work and I have a natural curiosity. So it's something that really is rewarding. And I love seeing people just walk away with this shining light in their face, knowing that something deep and profound has happened to them.
Yeah. And as I say, I can vouch for that. So when I tried RTT with you, it was quite a strange experience, I think. So I hadn't done anything like that before. It was quite upsetting, in all honesty. There were tears, but it's kind of, you have to face some of those fears, don't you? And I always think of it as pulling out the sofa. So it's like that with some of the coaching that I do with people. You've got to pull that sofa out, see all the crap there that you've not cleared out, and just kind of face it and go, okay, I need to deal with some of this in order to have that beautiful, clean, fresh room again. And I think our minds are kind of like that, aren't they? You've got to see that stuff. be ready to deal with it, and you can start again.
Yeah, and there's so many ways to do that. And it's for me, like having practiced yoga for such a long period of time, like for anybody who's practiced yoga, there are those people in the room that they're in a pose and they just start crying. And I was like, why am I crying in this pose? And the yoga teacher was like, well, your body and your nervous system are releasing trauma. And I'm like, what trauma? Like, I'm pretty, I've had a pretty typical upbringing, yeah, it was slightly hard, but it was the same as everybody else around me. And I was like, well, what do you mean trauma is stored in the body? So if you take an extreme example and trauma can be stored in the body, it means all the small little experiences can be stored in the body, and they add up to be something bigger. And once you, either through RTT or through coaching or whatever modality you choose, once you release them, you're not going to be overreacting to situations. So I think that's the benefit of doing the work that we do. Like, we help people overcome those ridiculous overreactions and sensitivities as well that really don't need to be there, that hold them back.
Oh, I know. And you have to experience it to get it, don't you? Once you've done it, then it makes you a little bit fearless, I think, and more willing to explore even more, because then it's what I can achieve now with that boundary removed. What else can I do next? Yeah. So it's a really, not addictive, but it gives you a real kind of boost, doesn't it, when you realise you can do so much more than you thought you were capable of doing. So I'm really interested in, you've spoke a bit about kind of how you got here in terms of, having lots of different tools in your toolkit, if you like, but feeling like there was that something missing, and RTT was that thing. What about you personally? So generally I find the people that I meet these days, there's been some kind of adversity or struggle or challenge or lesson that they've learned that's put them on this path to doing the great stuff that they do. So what's your thing? What's your story that got you into doing this type of work?
Yeah, I've always worked in like medium-sized businesses, and in those environments, there's a certain level of freedom for you to go in and, set structures up and hire people, train and develop, because you are HR, you are training, you are strategy, you are for the role that you're in. So I've been very lucky to hold senior positions across a merchandise planning function. And then I moved back into a larger company, and I felt like I was being boxed in and contained. And I didn't like that feeling, because, before I could kind of just, when you work somewhere for a really long period of time, you've established a reputation, people know you, they welcome your input, and you can move things quickly. There's no monthly cycle, board cycle where things need to get approved. You just say, okay, there's a weekly cycle, you get it done, because there's a built-up level of trust. And what I found is that as I progressed in my roles, a large part of my role was hiring people and developing teams. And these people had come from big businesses and they moved into a smaller organization, and the dynamics are completely different. So I kind of went off and I did a whole lot of training and research, and literally I would start to just call team meetings where I'd have 20 people in a room, and I'd be personally developing them, from anything to the change curve, to how to present with confidence, to understanding what the business strategy was, to getting them to speak in public. And I found that really rewarding, because I could see my team develop and grow. And then I think ultimately I was like, I'm kind of done with business. I was in consumerism. And then it was like, I just want to help people. I've always wanted to help people and businesses. And I think I'd done as much as I could on the business side of things. And I didn't want to work for a larger organization. I didn't want to progress up the career path to either be like a COO or a CEO. It just wasn't, not in my skill set, not in my desire. And I just want to help people. So I'm on my path to helping people.
You and me both.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other question I'm always interested in is that kind of purpose and meaning and what gets you out of bed each day, because I think a lot of people lose that, at some point in their life and end up feeling kind of, what is this all about? And it becomes more of a surviving rather than thriving. And I'm all about getting out of that mindset and finding the thing that lights you up, because I wake up in the morning and I'm kind of like, what am I doing today? And I think everyone should have that. Everyone should have that zest and energy and desire to start the day and look forward to what they've got planned that day. So what's yours? What gives you that zing and helps you get out of bed in the morning?
That zing is like the joy in the journey of life. I think, 10 years ago, it was get the promotion and that will give you happiness. And then you get a certain number of promotions and you're like, oh, I'm still not happy. So you change the way you live life, right? You go about and you kind of go, well, what is it that I really enjoy? Do I feel energized after speaking to this person? Was it an enriching conversation? Was it a two-way conversation? Did I show up in a way that was compassionate in situations where I could? So for me, it's really about finding joy in the journey to looking after plants and making them live, to going out and interacting with new people or helping people with trauma. So I find a lot of people that come to me, they have complex pasts that are quite traumatic. They've never spoken to anyone about them, and to be able to help them navigate these situations that have been burdens for them, and that have helped them perform to a certain extent, that is amazing. I can't tell you how grateful I am for the clients that I have.
Yeah, I think, as coaches, therapists, counsellors, any of those type of roles, it is really rewarding, isn't it? Because you get to help get that spark back to, find meaning and value and purpose in life, and that's priceless, isn't it? So I'm with you. That's one of the things that I really love. One of the other things I'm really passionate about is understanding our value. So, and our worth, I suppose, is another way of looking at it, isn't it? So getting under the skin of our superpowers, the things that make us unique and proud to be ourselves. What's your superpower? What's the talent, the gift that you've got that makes you unique?
I would say at any given point in time, it would be either a combination of curiosity, empathy, and high energy. I have no problem going in a room and being a clown to lighten up the room and pulling one-liners to kind of diffuse the situation. I would say that's probably been a big strength. When you walk into a heated meeting and everyone's really intense, to be able to cut through that and just lighten up the room and to instantly get people out of their funk, I would say that's probably a bit of a superpower if there was one.
Love it. And what's your biggest learning so far in life? It's probably difficult to narrow it down to one thing, I imagine, but
biggest learning in life, gosh, I'd probably say don't take it so seriously. I think there's a lot of and maybe it was a symptom of the time. There was a lot of prove yourself, prove your worth, go the career, and then that was offset with a whole lot of travel and a whole lot of having a good time. But maybe you just don't be so intense about it, and that could be a function of all your experiences together. It's I would have these two personalities. It's like on or off. It's like intense work or intense relax, go holiday play. Find the middle ground. Maybe that's what the biggest learning in life has been. Find the middle ground. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. And my final question, obviously, a lot of the work I do and a lot of what I'm interested in is the sort of confidence piece, because I think when you have that self-esteem and that self-worth and that sort of self-efficacy, the belief that you can do things, so much more is possible, and it gives you that sort of strong foundation to build from. So what tips, tricks, or advice have you got for people in terms of how to tap into their confidence in order to, find more positivity and, fulfillment in life?
I'm glad that you mentioned self-esteem and self-worth, because I think you could go around with those two and you could not be confident and you could still live a great life. But if you go around life with a 10 out of 10 presenting confidence and you have the low self-esteem and the low self-worth, the sort of life that you will live is one that's full of conflict and contradiction. So in terms of, I would say for anybody who, with self-esteem and with self-worth, they really need to be objective about what they've achieved in life and what they've done. And because sometimes people can disassociate from themselves, especially perfectionists, they can always think that whatever they do, it's not good enough. So you'll have a lot of these overachievers that have imposter syndrome, and you're like, well, he's my physical body, but he's my personality, like right next to me. It's like I'm disassociated from my body. So you need to work on, it's got a big smile on your face. You need to work on embodying. You need to work on embodying your achievements and the values of the person that would achieve those sorts of things. And it's almost like you need to accept yourself as opposed to reject yourself. And you may have been brought up thinking, oh, you're arrogant if you do that, but you can accept yourself and your achievements with a level of humility as well. It doesn't have to be like, I'm the greatest. You can go around with this like underlying, yeah, you can do that. It doesn't have to be a big showy sort of thing. So it's really about seeing yourself objectively, embodying your values and your achievements. And then confidence is actually an internal game. It's also a set of skills. So as humans, well, babies mirror and mimic all the behavior around them. So as humans, we have a natural ability to mimic everyone's behavior around us. So if somebody was not sure on how to be confident, I would get them to pick 2 or 3 people, be it role models, people they know, watch their mannerisms, how they interact, the language that they use, how they hold themselves, their posture, do they sit up, do they like, are they like this? And just go around mimicking that in environments that are safe. Like just, there's somebody called Amy Cuddy, and she does this thing where...
I was just going to say that.
Superman pose, like the whole, the whole empowered pose. And Tony Robbins does a great thing as well. He's like, if you walked into a room, you could see somebody who was depressed, or you could see somebody who was angry. Like our bodies physically know how to reflect or display an emotion. And in acting, actually, if there's one thing like I would recommend everyone do, is go do a beginner's acting course, because it gets you doing things that are out of your comfort zone, and it gets you stepping in and out of emotion. So you need to step into anger and step out of anger. You need to step into sadness, step out of sadness, step into laughter, step out of laughter. And it's all completely in a play environment. And as kids, we all love to play. So it's quite it's a great exercise to do.
Brilliant. I never would have thought of that, actually. It would make me incredibly uncomfortable to do it. I've got this, like, straight away flashback to, like, drama class at school when you had to be a tree and start doing it. No, it was not for me. But when you talk about stepping in and out of the emotions, I can see some merit in that. Yeah, I can see how that would work.
Yeah, because what I remember, and one of the things is, if anybody speaks multiple languages, you'll find that your mouth moves in different ways to pronounce different words. So if you're speaking like a European language versus like versus a good old Australian accent, we don't drop our chin when we speak. It's a very sideways sort of a movement. And one of the exercises we did with the beginner's acting was to just stretch your face, like in all different ways and shapes. Because your facial muscles, I'm not going to do it on camera because it's terrible. But when you move your face, you allow different emotions and expressions to come through. It's like, somebody who's always angry has always like this, permanent etched frown, and it's like kind of stuck in there. It's like you're frozen in anger. So it's always good to just kind of, get up, shake around, do something different, and allow your body to reset itself by just doing something that's completely out of the ordinary.
Wow. Face stretching, who knew? I've definitely got one of those horrible angry creases though, and it really annoys me because it's like I'm not an angry person, but when I concentrate on stuff, when I'm typing it, I'm like that, and it just increases. So in the pre-COVID days, I did actually have Botox to relax out a little bit because I just hate the idea that I look like I'm frowning and I look, angry in some way. But yeah, obviously since COVID, not been an option for me to go and get that done. So I see it sometimes on video and I'm like, oh God, the crease is back.
Do you know that studies have been done to say that people who get Botox can't express the same levels of anger as they used to without it?
Wow. I'm not really an angry person anyway, so it's not a great loss for me.
but in terms of if you lose expression in your face, it's like, how will you know? How would you try to express a smile without being able to smile?
Yeah.
Would you be able to feel that? Would you be able to feel that emotion behind the biggest
same emotion?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, isn't it? Oh God, that'd be awful. If I wasn't able to smile, oh my life, that would be. I don't even want to think about that. I've just noticed my good friend Amanda has popped something there in the chat. Beginner's acting is a great idea. It would put me way out of my comfort zone. Yeah. You and me too. Maybe we should do it together, Amanda, and be out of our comfort zone together whilst stepping into anger and joy and sadness and all of these other emotions. That could be a fun way to pass the time, maybe. So with the last 5 minutes we've got, if there's any questions for Helen, drop them in the chat whilst I ask some frivolous, trivial questions, because I like to end on a bit of frivolity, because that's kind of how I roll, really. So, cake, Helen, or biscuit? I'll widen it out a little bit for you. What's your favourite?
Oh, I would have to say biscuit.
And what type of biscuit?
Anything with lots of butter that melts in your mouth, like a shortbread type.
Oh.
Lots of icing sugar.
It's the wrong time for me to ask these type of questions so close to lunch, because it's all that I think about for most of my day generally is what I'm going to eat. So when it's actually close to feeding time, it's even worse. So what guilty pleasure? Tell us one of your guilty pleasures.
Guilty pleasure? Gosh, I would say taking half a day off and going dune bashing. That for me is one of the greatest things I've ever done in life. It's like buy a Jeep and go driving in the desert. It's amazing, like on so many levels.
Dune bashing. I like it. That's not really a guilty pleasure, though. That's just like a pleasure, surely. See, guilty pleasures for me are the embarrassing things like, mine, everyone knows mine now, but eating pork scratchings, eating out of date Bailey's cream at Christmas on the 5th of January when it went out of date on the 4th, and eating it with a spoon out of the tub. Shameless.
So they're all food related ones.
Well, they don't have to be food related. It's just that I'm all about the food and bad songs. That's another one of my guilty pleasures.
Right, okay. Guilty pleasure would be, not that I have it that often, it would be McDonald's fries with chocolate sundae dipped in. Happens very rarely. It's like when I'm sick, and I feel like I just need to load my body with chemicals to kill the germs. Like that's what I go for. Wash down with the Coca-Cola.
That's a good one. I like that one. Oh, Amanda commenting, Droobs didn't know about my Botox thing. Yeah, it's a bit of a guilty secret, Amanda. I don't like the idea of it because it is really unnatural and just not a great thing to do. But in my opinion, obviously, anyone who has Botox, that's fine, no judgment there. But for me, yes, it's not one of those things that I ever thought I'd do. But this bad boy is the bane of my life, so I make an exception for that one. So, final question. Any good recommendations, Helen, in terms of, books, podcasts, YouTube videos, Netflix, anything at all? What's kind of rocking your world at the minute in terms of entertainment?
Gosh, I would say in terms of books, anything by David Hawkins. So he's a psychiatrist who had a spiritual awakening, and he's managed to combine the science of psychiatry with the spiritualness of consciousness. And he's got some great books like The Map of Consciousness Explained, or The Pathway to Surrender, I believe is the title of the other one. And so
I think a friend mentioned that one actually, Anne Marie. She's going through a spiritual awakening currently, so she was the first person I spoke to on this series. But yeah, I think she might have mentioned his book as well.
Yeah, very, very, and I think like with a lot of these books, you can read them 3 or 4 times and you'll pick up a different message based on what level of awareness that you're at and what you're going through. And there might be like that one line. It's like with any coaching session, there's that one line that you hear at the right time and everything changes. I think his books generally tend to be like that as well.
Brilliant. Well, it's 1 minute to 1. And as everyone knows, I like to finish on time when there's food concerned. So I will draw us to a close on this week's session and say thanks so much for joining me, Helen. And it's great to see you again. I always like to see you.
Likewise. Yeah, really nice to see that smile. Yeah. I can always feel your energy coming through the screen, no matter how big it's
coming through the cyberspace.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Brilliant. I love that. Thanks for watching, and do connect with Helen because she is totally awesome. And any questions you've got, I'm sure she won't mind if you just hit her up with a DM. So until next time, I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Thanks, Nick. Bye, everyone.